Peter Carl accuses Nigel Farage of being on the side of extreme pornographers. I'm going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. So it says here that the UK Technology Secretary hits out Reform UK's pledge to scrap the Online Safety Act if it wins power. Now, look, I have my grievances against Nigel Farage and Reform UK. I don't think they serve the best interests of the UK, in my view, based on their policies and based on some of the language that's come out of them, in my opinion. And I know some people will vehemently disagree with me on that, but to accuse Nigel Farage of being on the side of extreme pornographers, I think is a tad bit extreme there. Sorry, my phone going off there. I think that's a tad bit extreme, and there are lines, I feel, and this is obviously all about the Online Safety Act, which has come under a barrage of fire, really, because it really has, whether you like it or not, it really has suppressed quite a lot of things. I have no problem with when it comes to the side of pornography, when it comes to try to put up barriers to stop people from accessing pornography. I think it's too easy for them. Now, the argument, obviously, of course, is that people are saying, well, there's been a massive increase in VPNs since the act has come into place, and I agree. And if some children want to get to pornography, they will get to it. But the thing is that the government are trying to protect children from that. But there are other cases where this Online Safety Act is not serving the best interest of the UK and its general public, in my view, as well. There are other things within the bill that was not to the benefit, and one of those is, of course, is that they're at the time of this recording, they're in a legal battle with Wikipedia over some of the information that Wikipedia shares, which is very problematic in itself. So it's impossible. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible that Wikipedia could find itself being banned from the UK, which is just insane. And of course, obviously, as I said about VPNs, they can bypass all these things. Now, I last checked that at the moment, the government at the time of this recording have no plans to ban VPNs, but it's entirely possible that they may change their position on that too. But specifically, we're talking about the Technology Secretary here accusing Nigel Farage of being on the side of extreme pornographers, which I think is a tad bit extreme, if I'm honest. So the UK Technology Secretary Peter Carl has accused Nigel Farage of being on the side of extreme pornographers over his party pledge to scrap the Online Safety Act. So Reform UK said on Monday it will repeal the legislation, arguing that measures intended to push social media companies to limit false and potentially harmful content would make the UK a borderline dystopian state. Well, the thing is that if we have to find ways to take on and limit harmful content and potentially harmful and false content out there, and this is supposed to be one of their ways of doing it, but it hasn't exactly worked to plan. I don't think they didn't really factor in a lot of things. So Nigel Farage and his close aide Azar Yusuf told the press conference that a reform government would repeal the legislation immediately and seek other ways to replicate its efforts to protect children from harmful conflict, for example, about suicide. They said they did not know how this would be done yet. Here's the thing, right? They say, okay, the Online Safety Act is terrible, we should get rid of it. But they can't tell us what alternatives they would be. This is the thing. Like, if the thing is, Reform UK do not... They talk about scrapping things or ripping things apart, but they don't talk about how they would deal with them. And this is another example of it. So responding on Sky News, Carl said Farage was on the side of extreme pornographers and that people such as the notorious child sex abuser offender Jimmy Savile, and Farage called the comments disgusted and demanded an apology. So yeah, Peter Carl basically accused Farage being on the side of people like Jimmy Savile, which I think is pretty disgusting, if I'm honest. Now, and someone made I think it was someone, and I've seen a couple of videos about this now. If this was the other way round, I could see Nigel Farage doing the same thing. But the thing is my position is always about never to sink to their level. And Nigel Farage here is... I mean, I don't think he's on this side of extreme pornographers, but the truth of the matter is we just don't know. But I really don't think he is. And I think to make such an accusation, especially at a time when things are really heated with the whole Epstein files over Donald Trump, like, you can't make Nigel Farage trying to stick him along the sides of child sexual abusers. I think that's a bit extreme to try and stick Nigel Farage to along that. That's just not gonna slide in any way, shape, or form. So Carl said, I see that Nigel Farage is always saying he's going to overturn these laws. So we have people out there who are extreme pornographers, peddling hate, peddling violence. Nigel Farage is on their side. Make no mistake Baker about it. People like Jimmy Savile were alive today, he'd be perpetrating his crimes online, and Nigel Farage is saying he'd be on their side. Now, again, like, this is the argument that from Reform and its chairman is Yusuf arguing that this is about freedom of speech, free speech. Yeah, this is the argument that they're making, that the Online Safety Act is actually repressing free speech. That's the argument that they're making, and it's a good argument for them, because guess what? They are a party that talks a lot about free speech, except the free speech that they don't like from people on the left, unfortunately. So it does. The comments do work in their favour. But again, like, to put him on the to try to blend Nigel Farage on the likes of Jimmy Savile, it's just a tad too much for me, and I think it's ridiculous. And by the way, people calling for him to resign and be sacked are dumb. That's not going to happen. At least I don't think so, anyway. Asked to clarify the comments, Carl said Nigel Farage is on the side of turning the clock back in time to when adult strangers can get in touch via messaging out to children. Farage posted on X, Peter Carl's comments on Sky News are disgusting. He should do the right thing and apologise. Oh, have you apologised, Nigel Farage, for the damage you've done to with Brexit? Have you apologised for the times that you have lied to the British public on several occasions as well? Oh, you haven't apologised. Oh, right. Yeah, people forget that. The minister doubled down, replying on the social media platform, if you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you are on the side of predators. It is as simple as that. No, it's not. I don't agree with that statement at all. Later on a live stream, Farage said, just how low can Labour government sink in its desperation? Yes, of course they're in trouble. They're well behind us in the opinion polls, but frankly, to say that I would do anything that would be in any way aid and abet people like Jimmy Savile, it's so below the belt. Yeah, again, like, I know some people might think, yeah, that kind of stuff would stick with the Farage, but unless you have evidence to back it up, you can't be throwing those kind of things out there. Justice Reform's former chair, I said he was chair, his former chair, when asked about parts of his act intended to shield children from harmful content, such as a requirement on age verification, said this was pointless because people could simply use VPN proxy servers to access sites that were outside the UK. Now, not every children knows about VPNs and knows about how to use them. Yes, there will be some children who are smart enough to use them, but not everyone does. Asked how reform would protect children, Farage said he did not know, but he claimed his party had expenditures not available in the government. So that's really the gist of the argument. I do think Peter Carl's comments were a tad bit extreme. I don't think they were helpful to Labour, and I certainly don't think they were helpful in trying to win back voters over Nigel Farage, but unfortunately, I just think it was a mistake. Do I think he should apologise? I do. A part of me does feel that way, that he should, because the comments were wrong. They were wrong, and unless he can prove otherwise, then in my opinion, they were wrong. I don't see it as a case of Reform UK trying to put children's harms at risk. I don't see it like that. Some people may disagree, but I don't see it like that. I know some people may interpret Reform UK as a party that might try and do that, but I don't believe that is the case here. They're using the argument of free speech is what I believe it is there, but I do think the comments were bad, tad bit too far. But what do you guys honestly think? Do you think Peter Carl was right to make those comments about Nigel Farage and about being on the side of extreme pornographers? Let me know your thoughts and more about all of this down in the comments section below. Now, if you found this video informative or helpful, hit the like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms as well. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.